propulsion, along with knee extension to provide vertical propulsion. At the moment of foot strike, the knee is slightly bent, but in the process of straightening. Extending the knee and using the quads creates the upward force required to move upward as well as forward. Over flat ground, this wastes energy and slows turnover, but up hills, it is necessary and efficient. Running up hills, you will not have very much downward vertical displacement before foot strike to help pre-stretch the tissues for elastic recoil. Concentrate on pulling your foot forcefully down into the ground, actually feeling like you are kicking the ground. Get this right, and you'll feel the same bounce as on flat roads. To enable the backward and downward foot drag, the knee must be brought up much higher during leg recovery and remain bent to a much more acute angle until the foot drag knee extension movement begins. Driving the knee powerfully upward puts the leg in a position to drive backward and downward into the ground, pre-stretching the muscles and providing both upward and forward propulsion. Using the glutes, hamstrings, and quadriceps muscles together at high turnover is critical. Running up hills, try to maintain the same body position relative to gravity as on flats. This will produce an even greater feeling of falling forward up the hill because your angle with the ground will become much more acute. Just as with flatland running, do not let the foot extend in front of the knee. The knee drives further forward and upward, and the foot does move slightly in front of the hips, but never in front of the knee. Practice running efficiently up hills. Concentrate on the following. Maintain the same high turnover used in flat ground running. Pump the arms with short, quick movements. During foot strike, drive the opposite knee toward the top of the hill. Pull the foot back down into the ground with a powerful motion. Don't just allow gravity to pull you down, actually kick the ground. Minimize contact time between the feet and the ground. Feel the bounce. Maintain the same body position with respect to gravity that you use for flatland running. If there's one place where optimizing running technique can pay off most, it is on downhills. The key to efficient downhill running is learning to use gravity instead of fighting it. The goals of evolution running: to minimize vertical displacement, to utilize elastic recoil, to take short and quick strides, to avoid braking, and to accomplish the heel flick with momentum, may be even more beneficial on downhills than on flats or uphills. Additionally, most runners' downhill techniques are even worse than their flatland techniques. Running downhill slowly requires more energy than running downhill fast. Downhills are the perfect place to reap the rewards of efficient running technique. There's a substantial amount of time and energy to be saved with good downhill technique and attitude. Gravity will provide much or all of the propulsion required to run fast downhill. Efficient downhill runners expend their energy on limb movement, support, and balance, but avoid using much energy either in braking or in propulsion. Gravity will provide plenty of power if you can avoid fighting against it and keep it under control. Learning to roll down hills. The wheel model provides the best insight into optimal downhill biomechanics. On a flat road, the wheel's center of support is directly under its center of mass and provides perfectly horizontal movement, exactly parallel to the road. The orientation between its center of support and center of mass rotates with the grade of the hill. The wheel's center of support will actually be behind its center of mass at an angle proportionate to the grade of the slope. In addition, the wheel will roll parallel to the slope instead of perfectly horizontally. Taking the analogy a step further, cyclists tend to pedal with less power on moderate hills and stop pedaling completely on steep downhills. The greater the assistance of gravity, the less force for propulsion is required from the athlete. To diagram the optimal theoretical downhill running technique, we simply rotate the diagram of optimal flatland technique in proportion to the grade of the hill. Notice that on downhills the foot strike is actually positioned behind the hips and that the entire body leans forward in a straight line from the toes to the head. This is a very difficult movement to perfect because it feels like you are falling forward. In fact, efficient runners do fall forward down the hill in a controlled manner and with minimal braking. Leaning forward down the hill with the hips and shoulders and trusting your leg speed and balance takes time, but the rewards are amazing. Efficient downhill runners lean forward almost as much as the grade steepens, maintaining almost the same body position relative to the ground. They also develop propulsion relatively parallel to the ground. Most runners use what I call the stair-step technique to run downhill, creating horizontal propulsion and then allowing gravity to pull them down to the ground. The muscles contract forcefully for propulsion instead of allowing gravity to do the work, which prevents physical recovery during downhills. Stair-step running also dramatically increases landing impact, requiring more forceful contractions to catch the body weight at impact and increasing the risk for injuries. This stair-step style of brake-propel slows a runner down and uses much more energy than evolution running. If you feel like you run faster down hills but hit the ground harder, you are definitely a stair-stepper. Learn to roll down the hills and you'll run much faster, use less energy, and protect yourself from the damage of hard landings. To go back to the analogy of downhill cycling, when a cyclist with a combined bike and rider weight of 200 pounds rides along a flat road, there are 200 pounds of force on the tires. When he rides downhill, there is the same 200 pounds of force on the tires. In the same way, with perfect running technique, you don't need to hit the ground any harder on downhills than you do on flats. Instead of allowing gravity to provide additional impact stress, allow gravity to provide additional propulsion. The real key to this technique is actually putting your foot down behind your hips. While this sounds simple, it will take a while to establish the correct feeling and will take a long time to feel natural. Put your foot down much earlier during leg recovery than you do now. When you get it right, you'll feel yourself squirt forward at foot strike with no attempt to provide propulsion. Your natural reaction will be to reach forward with the other foot to regain balance. The regaining balance is actually braking. Fight that tendency. Maintaining balance does not have to mean slowing down. Put the other foot down behind the hips and squirt forward again. Learn to stay light on your feet, turn your legs over extremely quickly, and avoid braking. Let gravity do the work of propelling. Expend your energy supporting your body weight, maintaining your balance, and turning your legs over extremely quickly. For almost everyone watching this video, these techniques will be something brand new. Be patient with yourself. It will take time to learn them, but they will work for you. If you have further questions, contact us through our website, evolutionrunning.com. Thank you for joining.